The wind howled across the desolate plains of XK Fey, kicking up clouds of irradiated dust that stung exposed skin. Dr. Elias Carter adjusted his respirator, the filters already clogged with the planet's toxic atmosphere. His boots crunched over broken permacrete, the remnants of what had once been a city. Behind him, the Zeperian scholar Zorath scuttled forward on 4 chitinous legs, his 4 eyes scanning the ruins with undisguised fascination. Fascinating, Zorath chittered, his mandibles clicking in excitement. The structural decay patterns suggest rapid abandonment, a cataclysm, perhaps. Elias didn't answer. He knelt, brushing dust from a half-buried metal sign. The letters were faded, but still legible. Los Angeles, Fey. His stomach tightened. Had seen this before, too many times. A shadow fell over them as Captain Valis of the Vorak warship Dread Talon loomed, her armored exosuit gleaming under the sickly orange sky. Another dead human colony, she sneered, her voice distorted by her helmet's vocal modulator. Typical, they spread like vermin, then died like them. Elias clenched his jaw but kept his voice even. This wasn't just a colony, this was a city. Valis snorted. Semi-difference. Your species has a habit of overextending itself. No wonder you collapsed. Zorath ignored the tension, his antennae twitching as he examined a collapsed skyscraper. The alloy composition is unusual, not standard Federation materials, and these markings, he traced a claw over a series of etched symbols. This is pre-Federation human script, a warning perhaps. Elias moved past them, his scanner humming in his hand. The ruins stretched for kilometers, a graveyard of steel and glass. But something felt off. The damage patterns weren't consistent with natural decay. The way the buildings had fallen, too uniform, too deliberate. His scanner beeped. He froze. Elias? Zorath tilted his head. What is it? Elias didn't answer. He adjusted the scanner's settings, then checked again. The reading didn't change. There was an energy signature beneath the ruins, and it was fresh. Captain, Elias said slowly, we need to scan deeper. There's something down there. Valis crossed her arms. More rubble, more corpses, save your breath. Human, this planet's been dead for centuries. No. Elias turned the scanner toward her, the display glowing with the unmistakable pulse of active power. It hasn't. Zorath's eyes widened. That's impossible. The atmospheric readings alone would fry any unshielded systems within decades. Nothing could survive this long. Elias stared at the ruins, the wind whipping at his coat. The scanner's readings didn't lie. Something beneath the surface was alive. Then why? He murmured. Is there still power running? Valis hesitated, then barked into her comm. Vorak team, converge on my position. Bring excavation gear, we're digging. Elias didn't look at her. His fingers brushed the rusted sign again. The letters rough under his touch. Los Angeles, a city that had once been home to millions. A city that, according to history, had been abandoned when Earth fell. But history, he was beginning to suspect, had left out a few details. The first drill bit into the permacrete an hour later. The Vorak machines whined as they chewed through layers of debris, their floodlights casting long shadows across the ruins. Elias watched, his arms crossed, as the team worked. Zorath paced nearby, his chitinous limbs clicking against the ground. Elias, Zorath said quietly, if there is something down there, something functional, what do you think it is? Elias exhaled. I don't know, but I don't think we're the first ones to come looking. The drill suddenly jerked, its motors straining. A Vorak engineer cursed. Captain, we've hit something solid, some kind of alloy barrier. Valis strode forward. Break through it. The drill whined louder, sparks flying as it ground against the unseen surface. Then, clang, the sound echoed through the ruins. The drill stopped dead. Silence. Then, from beneath their feet, a deep, resonant hum vibrated through the ground. Elias' scanner screeched, its display flashing red. "Captain," he started. The ground moved. A section of rubble shuddered, then slid aside with a groan of ancient machinery. A gaping maw of darkness yawned open, revealing a ramp leading down. Cold, sterile air billowed out. The Vorak Marines raised their weapons, their exosuits targeting systems whirring to life. Valis took a step back, her voice tight. "What in the void?" Elias stepped forward, his breath fogging in the sudden chill. The ramp was pristine. No dust, no decay. Like it had been used recently. He looked at Zorath. The Zephyrian's eyes were wide, his mandibles slack. "Elias," Zorath whispered. "This isn't a tomb." Elias nodded, his pulse pounding in his ears. "No," he said. "It's a door." The science vessel Illuminator hummed softly as it orbited the dead world, its scanners painting a ghostly image of the ruins below. Dr. Lena Patel leaned over the holographic display, her fingers dancing across the controls as she adjusted the resolution. The data streamed in, layer upon layer of collapsed infrastructure, radiation hotspots, and something else. Something that didn't belong. "These readings are impossible," she muttered, more to herself than to the room. High Scholar Krell floated nearby, his containment suit hissing as his gelatinous form shifted inside. His voice echoed through the neural link, dry and dismissive. "Nothing is impossible, Doctor, only improbable. The humans died here, just as they did everywhere else." Lena shot him a glance, then explained this. She tapped a command and the display zoomed in on a section of the ruins. Buried beneath layers of debris, a faint but unmistakable energy signature pulsed. "That's not residual, that's active." Zorath the Curious skittered into the lab, his four eyes blinking rapidly as he processed the data. Fascinating. The structural patterns. They repeat, not just here, but across all recorded human ruins. He pulled up a secondary display, overlaying images from a dozen dead worlds. "Look, the same alloy compositions, the same grid layouts. This isn't random collapse, this is design." Krell's containment suit flickered with irritation. Coincidence? Or perhaps humans were simply uncreative in their architecture. Lena shook her head. "No, this is deliberate. These ruins aren't just remnants, they're markers." She cross-referenced the data with the Federation's archives. Her heart pounding as the pieces fell into place. Every dead world the Federation has ever surveyed, every single one has human ruins, and every one of them has these same patterns. A silence settled over the lab. Even Krell seemed to hesitate. Then the comms crackled. "Dr. Patel." It was Ensign Vrel, the ship's comm officer. "We're picking up a transmission from the surface. It's encrypted, but the language matrix matches human." Lena's breath caught. "Patch it through." The speakers hissed. Then a voice, mechanical, distorted, but unmistakably human, filled the room. "Warning, unauthorized access detected, security protocols engaged." Zorath's chitinous plates rattled. "That's not a recording. That's Liv." Krell's containment suit darkened. "This is impossible. Humanity is extinct. Their records show collapse. Their worlds are dead." Lena stared at the display, the energy signature pulsing like a heartbeat. Then why is something down there talking? The transmission cut out abruptly, replaced by static. But the scanners didn't lie. Beneath the ruins of XK something was awake, and it knew they were there. Ensign Vrel's voice was tight. "Doctor, we're detecting movement below the surface. Multiple heat signatures. They're converging on the excavation site." Lena turned to Zorath, her voice low. "Get Elias on comms now." The Zephyrian's mandibles clicked nervously as he opened a channel. "Elias, you need to hear this." Elias Carter's voice crackled through, strained but steady. "We've got our own problems down here, the tunnels. They're not as empty as we thought." Lena swallowed hard. "Elias, whatever you do, don't go deeper. The ruins aren't dead. They're waiting." Static swallowed his reply. Then, from the depths of XK Fey, a new sound echoed through the comms. A deep, resonant hum, like engines powering up. The scanners lit up, and the dead world began to move. The drill bit screamed as it chewed through layers of collapsed ferrocrete, sending up sparks that illuminated the cramped excavation tunnel. Elias Carter wiped sweat from his brow, the air tasting of ozone and ancient dust. His headlamp flickered across strange markings on the wall, faded yellow paint forming symbols he hadn't seen since basic training. "Those are Terran hazard signs," Zorath said, his four eyes dilating independently as he scanned the glyphs. His chitinous fingers traced the crumbling edges. Radiation warnings, but the decay patterns suggest they were repainted recently. Behind them, a pair of hulking Vorak Marines shifted uncomfortably, their armored boots scraping against debris. One tapped a clawed hand against his plasma rifle. "This is a waste of time," the lead Marine growled. "Dead humans don't repaint walls." Elias ignored him, pressing a palm against the tunnel wall. The metal thrummed beneath his fingers. "There is power running through these conduits." He turned to Lena Patel, who was calibrating a seismic scanner. "What is below us?" Lena adjusted her glasses, the scanner's display reflecting in her dark eyes. "Not just ruins. There is a hollow space 300 meters down. And," she frowned, "movement, mechanical, not organic." Zorath's mandibles clicked in alarm. Impossible. This world was declared lifeless for 2 centuries. A sudden vibration shook the tunnel. Dust rained from the ceiling as the drill rig stuttered to a halt. The Vorak Marines snapped their weapons up, scanning the darkness. "Breach," one shouted. The wall ahead collapsed inward, revealing a yawning black passage. Cold air rushed out, carrying the sharp scent of lubricants and ozone. Elias's headlamp pierced the darkness, illuminating smooth alloy walls lined with glowing blue conduits. The floor was pristine, untouched by time. "This isn't ruins," Lena whispered. "This is maintenance infrastructure." Zorath scuttled forward, his exoskeleton trembling with excitement. The structural patterns from the surface, they weren't collapse formations, they were camouflage. The lead Marine shoved past them, his rifles targeting laser painting the tunnel ahead. "Stay behind us. If there are scavengers down here," a deep hum resonated through the passage. The blue conduits pulsed brighter. Then, with a hydraulic hiss, a massive blast door slid down behind them, sealing the tunnel. Red emergency lights flared to life along the ceiling. "Unauthorized entry detected," a synthesized voice announced from hidden speakers. The words echoed in perfect Galactic standard, but with an unmistakable Terran accent. The Vorak Marines spun, firing at the blast door. Plasma bolts scorched the metal but left no mark. "Hold your fire!" Elias barked. He stepped forward, hands raised. "We're not hostile." "I'm Dr. Elias Carter, United Earth Science Division." Silence, then the voice responded. "Colder now. Identity not recognized. No Terran personnel registered on XK Fey since evacuation cycle." Faylina grabbed Elias's arm. "Evacuation. They didn't die, they left." Zorath's eyes darted between the walls. "This isn't a tomb. It is a bunker, a functioning one." The lead Marine snarled and kicked a conduit. "Human tricks. Your species is extinct." A new sound cut through the tension, a rhythmic clanking growing louder. From the darkness ahead, shapes emerged, skeletal drones with multiple arms. Their optics glowing red, they moved with eerie precision, surrounding the group. "Security protocol engaged," the voice announced. "You will be detained for questioning." The Marine raised his rifle, then screamed as a drone's arm lashed out, injecting something into his neck. He collapsed, twitching. The other Marine backed away, but 2 drones pinned him against the wall with effortless strength. Elias didn't resist as a drone scanned his face. "Listen to me," he said slowly. "We didn't know anyone was still here. The Federation thinks humanity died out centuries ago." The drones paused. The voice took longer to respond this time. Federation presence unauthorized. XK-Fey remains sovereign Terran territory under the Long Watch Initiative. Lena's breath caught. Long Watch, Elias. That is a military term. Before he could answer, the nearest wall shimmered, transforming into a massive holographic display. Star maps flickered to life, showing hundreds of worlds, all marked with the same crimson sigil, dead worlds. Activation signal received, the voice intoned. All watchtower facilities transitioning to active status. Zorath made a sound like a dying engine. Oh no, oh no, no, no. The hologram zoomed in on a single planet, XK-Fey, revealing layer upon layer of subterranean structures. Not a bunker, a fortress. And at its heart, pulsing like a sleeping beast, something massive began powering up. Elias stared at the display, realization dawning. You're not just hiding down here, are you? The voice almost sounded amused. Negative, Dr. Carter, we are waiting. The emergency lights bathed the bunker corridor in pulsing crimson as the blast door sealed shut behind them with a final echoing thud. Elias Carter pressed his palm against the cold metal, feeling the vibration of ancient machinery humming beneath his fingertips. The air smelled of ozone and stale dust. But beneath that, something else. The sharp tang of active electronics. Zorath's 4 eyes darted in different directions, his chitinous limbs twitching with nervous energy. This is not possible, he chittered, mandibles clicking rapidly. These ruins were supposed to be dead for centuries. Lena Patel crouched beside a wall panel, her fingers tracing the edges of a maintenance hatch. Dead worlds don't have functioning power grids, she muttered, and they definitely don't have security systems. A synthesized voice crackled from hidden speakers, distorted but unmistakably human. Unauthorized entry detected. Identify yourselves. Elias exchanged a glance with Lena. The Vorak Marines behind them raised their plasma rifles, their armored forms tense. One of them, a hulking brute with scarred plating, growled. If this is a human trap, stand down, Elias snapped. He stepped forward, raising his hands. This is Dr. Elias Carter, Human Colonial Survey. We mean no harm. Silence. Then, with a hiss of hydraulics, a section of the wall slid open, revealing a dimly lit passage. The voice spoke again. Quieter now. Follow the markers. Do not deviate. Glowing blue strips lit the floor, leading deeper into the complex. Zorath hesitated, his antennae twitching. This could be a containment protocol, or worse, a failsafe. Lena shook her head. If they wanted us dead, we'd already be vaporized. She stepped forward, and after a moment, Elias followed. The corridor opened into a vast chamber, a control room, its walls lined with flickering screens and holographic displays. At the center stood a raised dais where a shimmering figure materialized, a humanoid projection, its features blurred by static. Designation, Caretaker Prime, it announced. You are the first organic life forms to breach this facility in phase standard cycles. Elias swallowed hard. You're an AI, correct. Primary function, preservation and maintenance of human strategic defense network. Subsection XK-Fey. Lena's breath caught. Strategic defense. This isn't just a bunker. It's a military installation. The hologram flickered, and the screens around them flashed to life, displaying schematics of the planet's underground network. Tunnels, factories, reactors. All interconnected, all active. Zorath stumbled back, his exoskeleton rattling. This is a city, a living city. Affirmative, Caretaker replied. Humanity never abandoned these worlds, they fortified them. Elias' pulse pounded in his ears. Why the hologram shifted, projecting a star map. Directive, prepare for the return. Then the screens changed again, showing footage of massive human fleets, thousands of ships, departing centuries ago. Not in retreat. Not in defeat, in formation. Lena's voice was barely a whisper. They didn't die, they left. Zorath's mandibles trembled. The hologram's voice grew colder. To war. A new image appeared. A blackened star system, planets cracked open like eggs, a Vorak fleet burning in orbit. Elias felt the blood drain from his face. You're saying humanity chose this? They turned their own colonies into traps. Correction, Caretaker said. Faye, they turned them into fortresses. Faye, one of the Vorak Marines, snarled, raising his rifle. Enough of this. If the humans are still out there, well, a high-pitched whine cut him off. From the ceiling, a turret unfolded, its barrel glowing red. Warning, Caretaker intoned. Hostile action will be met with lethal force. The Marine froze. Elias stepped between them, hands raised. Nobody needs to die today. We just want answers. The hologram studied him for a long moment. Then the turret retracted. Query. What is the current status of the Galactic Federation? Lena blinked. You don't know. This facility has been isolated since the Great Departure. External communications were severed to maintain operational secrecy. Zorath let out a shaky breath. The Federation believes humanity is extinct. They think these ruins are just graves. The hologram went still. Then, for the first time, something like emotion entered its voice. Then they have made a fatal error. The screens changed one last time, showing a live feed from orbit, the Vorak command ship, the Dread Talon, hovering above the planet, and beside it, a new contact, a ship, black, sleek, human. Lena's hands flew to her mouth. Oh my God. Elias' comm crackled to life. A voice, human, strong, and utterly alive, boomed through the chamber. Fae Federation vessels, this is Captain Ryan Blake of the United Earth Starship Defiance. You are trespassing in sovereign human territory. Fae, the hologram of Caretaker Prime straightened, its projection sharpening. The wait is over, it said, and deep beneath the ruins of a dead world, the machines of war began to wake. Captain Velas's claws dug into the command console as the holographic report flickered above the bridge of the Dread Talon. His 4 hearts pounded in uneven rhythm, the Vorak equivalent of cold sweat. The data streams showed impossible readings, energy signatures, movement, life beneath the irradiated surface of XK Faye. His second in command, Subcommander Crix, hissed through serrated teeth. The human ruins are active. Their power grids are online. There, silence. Velas snarled, slamming a fist into the console. The bridge crew flinched. Run the scans again. There must be an error. Crix's frills flattened against his skull in submission. No error, Captain. The excavation team is trapped inside a functioning human facility. Dr. Carter's last transmission confirmed it. They built under the ruins. The surface devastation was camouflage. Velas's crest rose in fury. Camouflage. A trick. His warship's sensors had surveyed 100 dead worlds, all littered with human wreckage, all supposedly extinct. Now the truth slithered into his mind like a parasite. They were never gone. Open a channel to High Command, he growled. Priority Alpha. The hologram of Admiral Salt materialized seconds later, his scarred muzzle twisted in irritation. This had better be critical. Velas, we're mobilizing for the Cygnus offensive. Velas forced his voice steady, sir. The human ruins on XK Faye are not ruins. They're a facade. My team has discovered an underground network of operational factories, reactors, and impossible. Salt interrupted, his claws flexing. Our archives document their collapse. The great human die-off was verified by 3 centuries of scans. Crix stepped forward, daring to interrupt. With respect, Admiral, the humans let us think that. Their surface cities were sacrificial. The real infrastructure is buried, and it is not just here. Dr. Patel's analysis suggests every dead human world follows the same pattern. Salt's nostrils flared. For a long moment, the only sound was the hum of the Dread Talon's engines. Then the Admiral's lips peeled back in a snarl. Show me. Velas gestured. and the bridge holoprojector bloomed with data. Planetary schematics of XK revealed layers of subterranean megastructures, their geometric precision unmistakably human. Thermal scans showed heat signatures where none should exist. And then, the kicker, a flickering transmission log, its encryption broken just enough to reveal its origin. This is Bunker Command Sigma, Phi, all systems nominal, awaiting Phase 2 activation. The date stamp was 37 days ago. Zolt's growl shook the comm speakers. This is a Federation world by treaty. Any operational facilities belong to us. A new voice crackled over the comm, Dr. Elias Carter, his transmission weak but clear. Admiral, you don't understand. These bunkers aren't just shelters, they're arsenals. The caretaker AI showed us the records. Humanity didn't die, they retreated. And they left behind enough firepower to, the transmission cut off in a burst of static. Bayliss whirled to his sensor officer. What happened? Unknown, Captain. The bunker's emissions just stopped, like they were masked. Salt's hologram flickered as he barked orders off. Screen. Dispatch the Faith Battle Group to XK. If the humans are hiding, we'll dig them out. And Bayliss, his eyes burned with predatory intensity. Glass the site if you have to. No more surprises. The channel died. Crix leaned close, his voice a whisper. Captain, if the humans planned this, if they wanted us to find these ruins. Bayliss stared at the planet below, its irradiated surface suddenly sinister. Then we just walked into a trap. Alarms blared, the sensor officer's voice spiked with panic. New contact, emerging from the system's Oort cloud signature matches. The bridge view screen flared as a ship tore into real space. Sleek black. No running lights. Its hull absorbed scans like a void. Bayliss's blood ran cold, human design, and it was locking weapons. The Vorak warships hung in orbit like vultures over a corpse, their jagged silhouettes blotting out the stars. Captain Bayliss gripped the command rail of the Dread Talon, his claws leaving grooves in the metal. All batteries target that human vessel, he snarled. Wipe it from the void before it. Alarms shrieked on the surface. Elias Carter shielded his eyes as the sky ignited. The black human warship, designated USN Defiance on his scanner, had emerged from its jump without so much as a ripple in space-time. It was sleek, angular, and utterly silent as it rotated to face the Vorak fleet. Zorath's 4 eyes dilated. They didn't use warp signatures, the Zephyrian whispered. No energy spike. That is impossible. Lena Patel's fingers flew over her datapad. Not impossible. Just centuries ahead of Federation tech. Her voice shook. Ilias, look at the scans. That ship's armor is growing. Above them, the Defiance's hull shimmered. Nanite filaments spread across its surface like liquid metal, reinforcing plating in real time. Then its weapons array unfolded. Not turrets, but sleek pods that hummed to life with a sound that vibrated through the planet's crust. A voice crackled over every comm channel, deep and calm. Federation vessels. This is Captain Ryan Blake of the United Earth Stellar Navy. You are trespassing in sovereign human territory. Power down your weapons and prepare for boarding. Bayliss laughed, a harsh, grating sound. 1 ship against 12. Humans still don't know their place. He slammed a fist on the console. Fire. Plasma lanced across the void. The Defiance didn't dodge. Elias watched, heart hammering as the bolt struck and splashed harmlessly against a honeycomb energy shield that hadn't been there a second ago. Then XK woke up. The ruins around them trembled. From beneath collapsed towers, from buried subway tunnels, from the very bedrock, things emerged. Drones, sleek, insectile, and countless, swarmed into the sky like metallic locusts. They moved in perfect formations, their wings humming in unison. Where they passed over the ruins, nanite clouds billowed, reconstructing shattered buildings in seconds. Zorath made a sound like a dying engine. This is a forge world. Lena's datapad chimed. She paled. Not just this one, Elias. The scans are updating. Every dead human colony. They're all pinging active now. The Federation just walked into a minefield. Above, the Vorak ships panicked. Fighters launched, only to be shredded by the drone swarms. The Dread Talon's main cannon charged, its muzzle glowing crimson, until a single beam lanced from the Defiance's prow. Slicing the weapon clean off, Blake's voice came again. Colder now. Final warning. Stand down. Valus screamed orders. All ships full retreat. Jump now. Too late. The planetary defenses activated. Elias had never seen anything like it. From the poles, from the equator, from beneath the oceans, orbital cannons rose, each the size of a city block, their barrels crackling with blue energy. They fired in unison. Space turned white. When the glare faded, the Vorak fleet was gone. Not wrecked, not disabled, gone. Vaporized down to the atomic level, silence. Then, slowly, the Defiance began descending. Its underbelly opened, deploying drop pods that streaked toward the surface. Elias's comm crackled. Dr. Carter, Blake said, almost gently. We need to talk. Zorath collapsed to his knees, his chitin rattling. All these centuries, you were here watching, waiting. Lena stared at the sky, where the drones were already assembling a space elevator. Not just waiting, she whispered, building. Elias looked at the ruins. No, the cities, rising around them, their steel gleaming under the sun, somewhere beneath his feet. Reactors hummed, factories roared, and an ancient AI kept vigil. Humanity hadn't fallen. It had been biding its time. The chamber fell silent as the holographic displays flickered to life above the Federation Council's central dais. Elias Carter stood at the center of the room, his boots planted firmly on the polished alien alloy floor. Around him, the gathered representatives of 100 species shifted uncomfortably in their adaptive seating pods. High Counselor Vexis loomed from her elevated position, her bioluminescent frills flaring in agitation. You dare bring weapons into this chamber? Vexis hissed, her voice echoing through the acoustically perfect dome. Elias didn't flinch. He tapped the control pad on his wrist. The holograms shifted, showing schematics of XK-phase underground networks, then zooming out to display hundreds of other dead worlds, each pulsing with hidden human infrastructure. These aren't weapons, Elias said. They're home movies. The footage played. Ancient human ships departing en masse. Automated factories burrowing deep beneath irradiated surfaces. Sleek black vessels patrolling forgotten sectors. The timestamp on the last image made Zorath's chitin rattle 2 weeks ago. Lena Patel stepped forward, her voice cutting through the murmurs. The Federation's been scanning dead worlds for centuries. How did you hide all this? Elias smirked. You weren't looking for living humans. You were looking for corpses. He tapped another command. The display changed to show Vorak warships vaporized by planetary defenses. Turns out, we're harder to kill than you thought. High Scholar Krell's containment suit hissed as he floated closer. This is an act of war. You deceived the entire galaxy. No, Elias said, turning to face the Cerebrian. We survived. The holograms shifted again, showing Earth's final broadcast before the Great Collapse. A weathered human admiral stared into the camera. If you're seeing this, we failed. But we left something behind. Seeds in the ashes. Captain Valus's image flickered onto a side screen, patched in from the Vorak command fleet. Admiral Salt demands immediate surrender of all human assets. These hidden bases violate. Violate what? Elias interrupted. Your rules. He crossed his arms. You declared our worlds dead. You looted our ruins. Now you're mad we didn't actually die. A new voice boomed through the chamber's speakers. Captain Blake from the Defiance. Federation vessels, this is your only warning. Withdraw from human sovereign space within 24 hours. Vexis slammed a taloned hand on her console. You can't possibly enforce that. We have 10,000 ships. The holograms zoomed out further, revealing the full extent of human territory. Not just a few hidden bunkers. Thousands of reactivated worlds, linked by shimmering FTL lanes. Elias let that sink in before speaking again. You've spent centuries thinking you ruled the galaxy. But this, he gestured at the star map. This was always ours. Zorath's 4 eyes darted between the displays. The ruins, the patterns, you wanted us to find them. Took you long enough, Elias said. A soft chime echoed through the chamber, an incoming transmission. The holograms dissolved into a live feed from Earth. Green valleys, towering cities, a sky filled with human ships. Lena gasped. That is impossible. Earth was a wasteland. Elias's smile didn't reach his eyes. We're good at fixing things. Vexis rose from her seat. Her frills now a furious crimson. The Federation will never bow to... Bow, Elias laughed. We don't want your surrender. We just want you to remember. He stepped closer to the dais. Humanity doesn't die. We dig in, we wait. And when the time's right, outside the chamber's observation windows, the stars flickered. One by one, human warships blinked into existence. Hundreds, then thousands. Their hulls gleaming under the capital's artificial sun. Elias turned his back on the council and walked toward the exit. Over his shoulder, he delivered the final blow. And now, we're coming home.